Well, hello, good people and Eagle fans. Mark Holmes here, and as always, I want to say thank you all for watching, commenting, subscribing, and being part of the Joe Boo Sports Report. Without you guys, as well as you ladies, you know that this literally does not work. I hope everybody's having a great day. Cowboys have a big problem, maybe. That may be on the defensive line. They're experimenting with Mozzie Smith, which always seems to be the weight gain. Okay, it's almost like he's Oprah. You got Oprah that's overweight and Oprah that's gotten skinny, and then overweight, skinny. We know that Mozzie, his rookie year, Dan Quinn, basically sent him to fat camp, and he lost over 30 some pounds, was down in the 290 range because they wanted him to be a pass rusher. He rebounded last year and was somewhere around the 220 range, and word is that he's lost more weight, and they want to play 1 and 3 technique, but definitely about being a pass rusher. I am still of the ilk that the Cowboys need that big run stuffer. Enter Christian Wilkins. He was released surprisingly by the Raiders in basically a Trayvon Diggs dispute, so to speak. What we've got with him was basically they felt that he didn't rehab himself the way he should have, and he should have gotten another surgery this summer. And they're basically trying to void his contract. It's turned into a big mess. He's filed a grievance with the NFL Players Association trying to get his $35 million. He was originally signed from Miami, played well for a year. And when you look at the numbers for him, he's one of the best run stuffers. Now, he's 29 years old. Now, that sounds old, except when we're talking about interior defensive tackles. As I pointed out, it usually takes 4 or 5 years for a player, interior defensive lineman, to really get up to speed with everything that is. As I pointed out, when you're in one technique, it's not just like when you're a defensive end on the left or the right side where everything's coming in one direction. Everything is coming to you all at once from every which direction. So you literally have to have your head on a swivel. And you've got to be able to, fight this guard over here or this guard over here or the center and the guard. Or you've got the wham block coming down from the tight end, which is the worst. I'm telling you, because it's basically like somebody walked up behind you and hit you in the back of the head with a 2x4 that you didn't see coming. Because the tight end's in motion, the ball snapped, and he's instantly diving at you. Okay, so it takes time to develop those guys, and you have to have a bit of crazy to be one of those guys. And here's what we have. Okay, so if the Cowboys want to beef up this is the Laundry Hat Report. If the Cowboys want to beef up their defensive tackles, they have a more than adequate option after Raiders standout Christian Watkins, who inked a 4-year, $110 million deal, including $84.7 fully guaranteed with the Raiders last offseason. And so the Raiders basically are saying, we've got a new regime here, we're changing things up, and we're going to go ahead and start all over, and we don't want to pay you. And this is where, you get people always talking about, oh, well, he signed a contract, he's getting all this money. You see opportunity knocks, they're trying to figure out ways that they ain't going to pay you. This is a very messy situation, as the Raiders have reportedly voided the remaining $35.2 million of guaranteed money left in his contract, and he's filed a grievance with the NFL's Players Association. He's been recovering from a Jones fracture in his left foot, suffered last October. He was placed on the physically unable list, the PUP list, to start the season. To start training camp. The two sides have butted heads for months over what Ian Rappaport reports as wanting him to have another surgery on the foot, and he's like, no, I'm going to do some other rehab for it because I don't want to have another surgery. So the question now is, first of all, the big question is, how is actually his health? Is he recovered from the foot injury? That's question number one. And if he is recovered from it, you can best believe there's going to be a lot of teams. In fact, looking at it right now, there's allegedly the New England is allegedly, reportedly wanting to get him in there. But Pete Carroll, no-nonsense guy. He's not one of his guys. New situation, new coach and all that. Says, you know what, we're moving on from this. We're not dealing with this nonsense, and we want to get the cap space. So you're hearing that some teams are already lining up to get him. The question you have to ask is this the type of guy that the Cowboys could use? Well, disgruntled players, I mean, we could look and say that George Pickens allegedly was disgruntled, but Luigi is seemingly happy about being with the Dallas Cowboys. Pay-wise, we don't know what he's going to be looking for this first contract, and it's probably because he is literally, as I look at Pro Football Focus numbers, he was Pro Football Focus top 101s, 21, 22, and 23. Of course, last year he got hurt in early in the season. Pro Football second team All Pro in 21. And first team All-American at Clemson in 2018. So you're talking about a guy who can ball if he's healthy. If that foot is together, the Cowboys may want to take a look at this, get a little under the hood here and see about this kind of guy. Now, what I will say is I don't know beyond this flare-up with the Raiders about his rehab. And make no mistake, you remember we had Eugene on here who pointed out sometimes the teams don't have your best interest long-term in store. They may look at it and say, yeah, get this other surgery and stuff like that because they're looking for you right now. But long-term wise, they don't. Eugene had pointed out he had torn labrum. The team said, oh, it's just a strain. We can get you some medication. You'll be fine. He went to 3 different doctors, and all 3 of them said, it is a complete tear. It is gone. It's no longer attached. And so you're beginning to see players that are relying on their own trainers and medical staff as opposed to the teams. And you're beginning to see teams kind of fighting back and saying, no, we want you here rehabbing with us. We have this situation right now with Diggs. And this may be the red flag to say the Cowboys won't do this because he's already kind of bumped heads with the training staff of the Raiders. But you have to start looking at some of these guys and saying, can this work? And is there a need that we definitely need to be filled? And I think it's definitely one that we should be looking at, although I don't know what's going on with the Cowboys. We have the day off. This would be a good day to get Micah Parsons done so we can move on beyond the drama. But then again, Jerry Jones loves the drama. So we're at an impasse. Christian Watkins, a case that bears watching. And we'll be butthurt if he signs with somebody for like $2 million or something. You know that, right? You know that. All right, y'all. I got to get out of here. Peace out.